Good morning, Central Middle School. It's October 3rd, and we have some new arrivals that came in. So I want to get out a quick video, go over about 6 or 7 of the titles, and hope that I will see you soon coming in to check out some of them. So this one is called Under Lock and Key, and this is about a boy in middle school named Jeremy he's a retrieval specialist. He can find stolen property by the end of the day, and he's very popular for kids to get things back that they've lost or have been taken. Somehow, someone in the school ends up with the master locker key, and things are getting stolen right and left, and everybody's upset. Teachers are trying to find out who the culprit is, and Jeremy, to keep from getting into trouble, has to find the culprit so he doesn't end up spending his whole school career in detention. So this would be a LOL worthy book with a lot of action. This is called Patina. This is a fiction book about a girl who is kind of troubled, but she's also the fastest runner on her track team, and she gets sent to a fancy school to compete. And she has a lot to prove, not just to the other girls at the school, but a lot to prove to herself. And she could have a shot at the Junior Olympics. So this is a coming of age novel, learning about yourself kind of thing. Then we have The Lost Boys, and this is about a 12-year-old boy who lives in Iran. And he, at 12 years old, enlists in the army to help his family and his country. And he gets captured by a prisoner. He's a prisoner of war in the Iraqi war camp. So he wonders if he'll ever survive, make it out alive, and he focuses a lot on himself and music to get through those days in that war camp. So imagine some of you are 12 years old. So this is part historical fiction. This one is called Falcon Wild. This is a survival book. I read a lot of good reviews about this book. This is by Terry Lynn Johnson. And this is a girl who's a falconer, and she trains falcons. And her parents tell her she has a falcon that she has to give back to the original owner. And somehow she and a runaway boy end up lost in the Montana back hills. And she and the runaway boy and the falcon hunt and survive till they're found. So survival and friendship. This is called The Doll Maker of Krakow. And this one sounds neat because it's fantasy meets historical fiction. So there's a famous doll maker, and one of his dolls comes to life in the midst of the Nazi invasion in Krakow, Poland. So if you're a fan of fantasy and you need historical fiction, you might be able to knock this out in one move. And then we have Chasing Augustus. This is about a boy who lives with his dad, and his dad has a stroke. And so he's shipped off to live with his crotchety old grandpa. And in the midst, he loses his beloved dog, Augustus. And so he and a foster kid he meets in his apartment complex where he's living with his grandpa go on a mission to find his dog. And he, of course, learns a lot about himself along the way. And then we have Walking with Miss Millie. And this is about a girl who moves to a new town, and she's forced to walk her neighbor's dog. But what happens is she ends up walking the dog with the elderly owner. And what she thinks is going to be a horrible, boring experience turns out to be very enlightening. She makes a friend. The elderly lady has lived through segregation, and she learns a lot about the history of that, the history of the town. She meets a lot of interesting people on these daily walks and learns about friendship and heartache. So these are just a few of the many new arrivals. This shipment is mainly fiction. We're waiting on nonfiction with the second shipment. There was one Star Wars graphic novel. So if any of those sound good, I hope to see you in the library to check them out soon. Thanks.